press record in between and the beginning. Mitchell Burke, I need your help again. I messed up yesterday, and I forgot to, and then I tried to split it afterwards, and it took me a while. I couldn't figure it out. Okay. If anyone knows how to split files that can help me out, I'll send you the file, and you can split it for me. That would be a very big help. All right. So Tanya, so we spoke about the tzaddik, the righteous man, and we had a lot of fun yesterday speaking about the wicked man. We spoke about the Rasha, a lot of fun, whatever. We spoke about the wicked person yesterday. Today we're going to talk about the Beinoni. It's the in-betweener. And what are we going to say? We're going to start talking about it. It's not going to be a one-day class. We're starting to learn chapter 12 in Tanya, right? So 11 was the wicked person, 10 was the righteous person, and then through Friday, what's today? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to learn about this in-between guy. So, who is he? What does he do? How does he operate? What's his thing? So here's the deal. Rabbi Gordon always says, Nancy Reagan says, just say no. He always brings in his classes. I didn't listen to this tiny class today, but he says, just say no. I wanted to find if this is correct, but in my eyes, this is the best way to describe it. It's like the addict. It's like someone who, are you an alcoholic if you haven't had a drink? So someone was an alcoholic, and then he went to AA, he cleaned himself up, and he hasn't had a drink in 30 years. And I asked this in the class a while ago, and is he an alcoholic or not? And the answer is yes. But then I'll ask you, but he hasn't had a drink in 30 years. Why is he still an alcoholic? And the answer is because in a half a second he could switch, because his inhibitions are he's inhibited with his desires and lusts. It's all there. It's just that he's able to hold it under control. So that is really who the Beinoni is. He's someone that has learned to master the skill of discipline. He's disciplined. He's very, very good at being disciplined. He learned in his life at being disciplined. I remember when I used to think when a parent disciplines a child, it means that they're going to smack them. That's not what it means. It means he's going to teach his child to be disciplined, that he should have self-control. Self-control. I think that's one of the greatest gifts a parent could give their child, is literally simply to teach them to be disciplined, to have self-control in life. That's one of the greatest things for success in life, is that don't allow your emotions and moods and everything else to control who you are, but you should do what you do when you need to do, and you should say the right thing, and you should act on the right thing, and as we're learning in time, you should even think the right thing. Have control over your thought, speech, and action to be a person that has discipline and control. That is the greatest important skill in his life. I remember my son once went for he was getting braces or whatever, not braces, like one of the things in his tooth, and the doctor said, you're very inquisitive, you're very observant, you observe very well what's going on around you, because he was asking all kinds of questions to the dentist, to the orthodontist, and she says, I don't know if you have discipline or not, but you're going to go very far in life if you have discipline. So I realized you could have all these things. You could be I think a big thing in life also is to be ambitious, to have drive. But discipline is one of the most fundamental, basic necessities for a healthy person, that makes a person healthy. An unhealthy person, an animal, acts, does whatever they want whenever they want to do it. A person, what makes a person unique is that they're disciplined. In Chassidus, we call that, the terminology for that is called Mayach Shalit Alalei, which means the mind controls the heart, period. The mind controls the heart. Your brain is what is dictating and telling you what you should say, when you should say it, how you should do it, when you should do it. The second you lose that, you're acting like an animal. And then your animal soul could want this, your godly soul might want some stuff, but you are not in control. A human being, a mensch, is someone that is in control of what they say and what they do, and even what they think. In other words, not what feelings they have, urges. You might have an urge. I'm not taking that away. God might have given you an animal soul that has very strong urges. But the fact is, in a car, there's different models. There's the higher model, the lower model. It might have a backup camera, it might not have a backup camera, it might have Bluetooth, might not, might have leather seats, might not. But every car has 4 wheels, right? Every car has 4 wheels. Every car has an engine. It's the standard model. The standard model of human being, and here's the point, is that in everyone, God created you like this. You don't have to get it. You don't have to work on it. You have it. What is that? Your mind controls your heart. Your brain is controlled. You're not forced to do everything you want. I heard Rabbi example from Rabbi Tau. It's like, he says he was actually giving a woman's class. I'll give you 1 or 2 great examples that he gave. He said that the husband, he hears from the husband sometimes that they say, I couldn't anymore. They got me so angry that I just screamed, that I just let them have it. He says, it's not true. Doesn't work like that. Not an excuse. Your mind always controls your heart. Your mind always controls your heart. Your brain, you're in control. You're a human being, which means discipline, and that you can always be in control of your actions. You can never say the opposite. An animal, you could say, can't help it. A lion needs to eat the person. It was instinct. A human being doesn't act on instinct. It could if they want, but they're not acting like a human being. A mensch has control, and their brain, which is the thing that thinks, controls their action, controls their body, controls their heart. I'll give you an example, which he gave, a great example. So he says like this, he says he was once going, his wife was he was in the car, his wife was going shopping, he was in the car, and he was saying Tehillim, he was catching up on the daily Tehillim, and his face is in the book, and a woman comes out very quickly from the store with her son, right next to their car. And you see, she's like, something's bothering her, and she puts her kid in the car, and she starts screaming at the kid in the car. You embarrassed me. What did you do in the store? Whatever. It's so embarrassing. Like she was really upset at him. And then she looks and she sees in the car, she didn't see before. All of a sudden she sees that this guy's right next to her in the car and hears the whole conversation. She's quiet again. Doesn't say anything. Right? And then she gets him. So he said, how long did she want to scream at her kid? For what the kid did in the store. It could be 20 minutes. The kid did something terrible, but it's not culturally correct to scream at your kid in front of other people. Maybe the kid needed to be screamed at, whatever. But so she waited till no one was there. And then the second she saw someone was there, she stopped again. Great example. So we have complete and full self-control. In life, you're going to have self-control, right? You want to beat somebody up, and if you see a guy that's 10 times stronger than you, that's going to hurt you, you're going to have control. You're not going to scream at him because you know you're going to get hurt. So do we have self-control? Yes. And the point is that it's not something you have to get. You have it. Every human being has, unless medically, actually, there's like a biological, let's say there's an issue, a chemical imbalance. We're not talking about that in our class. But every average person, healthy person, their mind controls their heart. And there's no excuse for hurting or breaking or whatever that you can't say, I couldn't do it. Your mind controls your heart. And that is just say no. That's the Beinoni and Tanya. You might have inhibitions, you might have struggles. The Beinoni is the guy that says no. The alcoholic who is driven and wants to drink. But guess what? For 30 years he said no, and guess what? He's not going to mess up. You know he's not going to mess up. He made that commitment, right? Something like with dieting. I'm not eating it, and that's it. It's when you hit that resolute level of, and you're sincere, and you're really not going to, I'm not going to touch that food again, and it's a real commitment, like the alcoholic who hasn't drunk for 30 years. He's a Beinoni, he's driven, and he wants it, and I'm not saying he hasn't changed himself internally. He's still that same animal that's pushing these lusts up in him, but he learned to say no. He learned the sense of discipline, and that is the first key in life to success, and to success internally, emotionally. That's the first key to success in life, is learning to say no, not to do what you shouldn't do, even though you haven't yet fully worked out your inside emotions and you're still an animal inside and you still have the drives and everything else, but to say no, that is the Beinoni. Let's learn about that inside now. All right, let me bring up the text here and we'll learn about today's Tanya together inside. So we learned about the tzaddik. The tzaddik is one whose godly soul wins over the animal soul. And then we learned about the Rasha, who the animal soul is in control of the body. Let's see who the Beinoni is in detail. Describe this amazing person. Beinoni, and the Beinoni, the intermediate man, the in-betweener. The guy who still is working on his emotions, but he hasn't figured it out yet. Hu shel olam ein hara goiver kol kach lichbeish as ir ktana. He's so resolute and he's so in control, and he learned discipline that wickedness and evil, ungodly things never take over the small city, never take over the body, never in control. He's very strong sense of discipline, and he knows he wants to be godly. And even though he has these urges, like the alcoholic, every time he sees a drink, he just wants to get drunk, let's say, but he's in control. He knows it's not good for him. He's complete control on his thought, speech, and action. He stays away from it. He doesn't speak about it. He doesn't go near it, doesn't pick it up and put it in and drink it, and he doesn't think about it. When he learned how to stay away, he's very powerful. This means that the three garments of the animal soul, what is he in control of? What does he have control of? Because some things he doesn't. He's not in control of the urges. So he's constantly, he has the urges. The alcoholic is still 30 years later, he's still struggling. He still has the urges. But he right away puts it out. I'm not thinking about it. I'm not talking about it, and I'm not doing it. He's control of the three garments. Of the husk, of the shell, of the anti-God reality that's hiding Hashem's presence. He's in control of the thought, speech, and action that the animal soul can never take over the driver's seat of that. Can't get in the seat and take over control. The animal soul in him is under his belt. He's got it under control and discipline. He'll never overpower the godly soul to take over the body. He's keeping it in check. The moyach, with his mind, ubepeh, with his mouth, ubeshara machivarim, in his 248 limbs, lachtiyam uletamim chas v'shalom, to make the 248 limbs sin or to make them impure. God forbid he has it down and he's in control, and he'll never let the total control the animal soul doesn't have a chance because he's disciplined. Only the three garments of the godly soul, thought, speech, and action of the godly soul, the translucent, the connected, reveal part to Hashem, Heim levadam, they're the only ones, that dress up in the body. That the thought, speech, and action of the person, the garments, are used for the 630 mitzvahs in the Torah. Whatever the Torah says to do it, he does. He has never done, this is going to throw you off for a second, but I'll explain it. He has never done an Aveira his entire life. And he will never do an Aveira in his entire life. He's never did one, and he never will do one. That is the in-betweener, which, if you guys are with me and taking this class serious, a question would come up to your mind right away. That means that we are, I saw someone raise their hand. Just hold on to the question. Write it down, Brad, and we'll take it after. But a question for those that are really taking this serious, and many of you are, a question arises. What do you mean the middle guy is a guy that's so in control, he never did one and never will do one? That means we're out. All of us in this class are out because we've all done something wrong. We've allowed our animal soul to take some control of our body. And it doesn't mean, I'm just going to jump ahead and say, it doesn't mean that he never literally did anything. It means in his state of mind now, he will never do it, and it's as if he never did it, which means where he is in his life, it's the most foreign thing from him. It's not happening. So like the alcoholic, 30 years later, in his state now, it's not going to happen. There's that much discipline that it's never happened. How I am now, how my existence is now, it never was and it never will be. I'm in complete control. Okay, 30 years ago I wasn't, or maybe even 5 minutes ago I wasn't, but I learned my lesson. And so like, the example I use, if someone lends somebody money and they don't pay them back. When will he lend him again? When the guy who cheated him before, he know that he really changed and he's a different person, and he's the kind of person that never will and never did it and never will do it. So although we've all sinned, we've allowed our animal soul to take over control of our body and overcome our godly soul. But right now, so it's a person that's in a diet that they're not breaking their diet because they are committed. They're never going to do it again. So the Beinoni is someone that's in that state, although they have, but right now it's as if they're in a world, they're living life, they're in control, and it's as if they didn't do it. Right now the state he's in, it's not me. that was me a year ago, 10 years ago, but it's not me. You know, like sometimes you'll see this guy. We had a guy who came here with his shirt up high who spoke, Elon Anav. I don't know if you remember, he had tattoos over his whole body. And now he's like this long beard with a white shirt. This looks like this, holy Hasidic Jew. And it's not the same person. He changed. He's a different person. It was like a different lifetime. It's not him anymore. It's like, you're talking about me, what happened 30 years ago, how it used to be. A guy was part of a gang or whatever. Now he's this big rabbi in yeshiva sitting and learning and teaching. It's how I am now. It's not me. It was a different person. I'm a different person now. So a Beinoni is someone that has total and complete control. Not like the kind of diet which you break. Like whenever I make a diet, it's over about a day later, 2 days later, when I'm something stressing me out, my diet's over. Not that kind of commitment. It's a real commitment. The godly soul that's inside the Beinoni, right? Because he has both parts to him. With all its parts, all its pieces, the 10 attributes, right? And remember, we said the thoughts, the wisdom, comprehension, and knowledge that make up the thought and the 7 emotions. Who the godly soul is, he is in control. It is in control of the body. It's complete control. It's in the driver's seat. However, the problem is that he's not the undisputed owner of the body. There's always the other guy that's waiting to take over. The animal soul is constantly, the second the animal he gets the chance, he's going to take over. And the godly soul, the disciplined person, has to be on such watch because he really never fought off. It's like the alcoholic. He never really fought off these urges. It's there. If he loses in a minute, if he doesn't go to AA one day, and he goes into the liquor store, he's going to lose it. The urges is still there because the godly soul never took over. He's a person with all the inhibitions, all the drives, unhealthy drives, the animalistic tendencies. He has it all pounding. It's there, ready to go. The godly soul is not in control at all. He's not in control at all. Totally challenged. The person's a very challenged person. But he's disciplined enough that he keeps him in the driver's seat, and he's not going to let go and keep the godly soul in the driver's seat. There are moments in life where the godly soul, and this is what makes him a Beinoni. So a Beinoni kind of has the struggles of a Rasha. The difference between the Beinoni and the Rasha is just that he's extremely disciplined. He's very in control. There are times, however, where this Beinoni person will feel like a tzaddik. Well, there will be moments in life which the urges will not be pushing you the whole time. Like at special times, like in the Shema prayer, sitting in shul, you have your siddur open, you're saying every word, and you're thinking about every word during the prayer. And at that moment, which you're saying the Shema prayer, Shema Yisrael, you're saying the Shema prayer in shul. At that moment, there's some strong energy in heaven. When you say the Shema prayer above in the higher worlds, it's in a very high spiritual state. And reflecting below in the person, it's also a very special time for the person to feel holy. That's why during davening sometimes you'll feel a special sense of holiness, right? I know David, I think this Shabbos in Shul, he told me that. He says, I don't know, there was something special in Shul this Shabbos. I felt very connected. So at that moment when you daven, what happens when you daven? You're sitting and when you're really davening, not just saying the words. And you're thinking about the wisdom, understanding and acknowledgement and knowledge of Hashem, and you're really thinking every word. And your mind is meditating deeply, strongly about the greatness of Hashem. You're sitting and you're reading the davening. What's this whole davening talk about? The greatness and the wonder and the majesticness of God. In the infinite energy of the Creator. And he's waking up that love that he feels to Hashem, this drive and this love to God that's like a fire. in the right ventricle of the heart, right? Where the not so much blood, because that's the animal, but the right side, where the godly soul is, the dafka mitzvahs, and you're like, I have such a love for Hashem. The example I always like to give, especially recently, is like when someone does you so many favors, you want to do back. So you want to come to Shul in the morning and daven to Hashem. Look how much God has given to me. How can I not come? I love him. I owe him so much. He's done so much for me. Or look how great and amazing. I have a chance to have a meeting with him, and I could come and look at his splendor and his greatness and the davening and everything else. I want to connect to him. And you feel this love to Hashem for the Torah and its mitzvahs. Which that's what we explained the purpose of Shema is. This is the whole purpose of Shema, which is, by the way, a biblical mitzvah that we have to say Shema in the morning and at night. And in the prayer, the way the rabbis set up the Shema prayer is that there's blessings before it and after it, which are rabbinic commandments to say the prayer in that way. It's to get you ready, so your Shema should be the way it should be. So they introduce certain meditation and thoughts that come before and after it. At that moment, when you're in Shul and you're experiencing that, but let's say many of us might experience Yom Kippur, when you're in Shul and the Chazin's davening or the Yashon and the shofar's blowing. What happens at that moment? At that moment, the person is in such a height, such a spiritual state, that he doesn't have to fight the urge. The alcoholic is not fighting the drive he has because he's so spiritual. His godly soul is such fire that he actually doesn't have to worry about the temptation. I'm so holy. I'm so connected. I don't have to worry about that. I guess someone, there's such love with their spouse, they don't have to worry about anybody else on his wedding day, whatever he's doing. There's nothing else to worry about. At that moment, when your davening, his connection, his mind and heart is connected to Hashem, it's on fire and it's thinking, his thoughts are only about God. For a few minutes, he has relief. He doesn't have the drive anymore on the other side. And that is like, he's almost like a tzaddik. He's almost like feeling the sense that a tzaddik feels. All of us felt that in our life at some point of holiness and greatness. But the problem is, after davening, the guy listens, say, after you leave Shul on Yom Kippur, you're in such a holy state, and the next day, you have a struggle, a mundane, regular, worldly struggle that you deal with. That the greatness of Hashem's infinite wisdom leaves that ecstasy, that holy level that you were in goes away. Boom, you're back to the struggle. The addict is back to the struggle. The person, human being, is back to the animal soul. It's already throwing him again urges. And it wants the lust and the desires and the gluttony that the animal soul wants, which is the opposite of Hashem. So the Beinoni has a real struggle. It's describing every one of us in the struggles that we face. But who is the Beinoni? The one who mastered the natural gift, tool that God has given us, that a man, woman, every person can control the actions that they have. And that is a Beinoni who has that ultimate commitment and the strength and resolved to act like a human being, what he needs to do or she needs to do, and not what my impulse and instinct is doing. That is the Beinoni. Any questions or comments on today's Tanya? Brad, you raised your hand before. I don't know if that was on purpose or by mistake.
That was by accident, but since you did call on me, what if someone gives you a piece of paper that says a lifetime supply of free hot dogs right before you go kosher? Yeah, it just made me think of that. So
there was a guy. That was a really great story. Quickly, there was a guy.
Fantastic story. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember it though. I said this year, 2 years ago on Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur. Oh, it's always great when you have someone who remembers what you said 2 years ago. It shows that
I can help you out. I remember.
I'm not wasting my time. Go ahead. You probably remember better than I do.
Well, no, it was that the guy. He says he's gonna go for his last hot dog before.
I remember the guy was taking classes for years on Torah study, but he never made real change in his life. And then one day, the rabbi says to him, who he's learning with, "Go kosher," and he finds, okay, I'll go kosher. And what happens the next day? I think his son is friends with another kid, and they went to a restaurant in Chicago called, what was it called? Do you remember?
I thought he went for his last hot dog and.
Oh yeah. That's right. He said he's going to have one last non-kosher thing. And he loved this certain hot dog place. I remember someone sent me a picture of it actually from Chicago. He loved this certain hot dog in this hot dog place. So he says he's going to go for his last hot dog into the hot dog place before he goes kosher. He's going to go enjoy it. So he goes in and he's sitting there, his last hot dog, his last non-kosher hot dog, which is his favorite non-kosher food. He's sitting there in the restaurant and the guy is next to him. And he's eating his hot dog and he makes conversation. The guy sitting next to him in the hot dog store, it's like a chain of hot dog stores. And he sees he's like upset. I think he says he's having like a hard time because it's his last time. It's the last non-kosher meal he's gonna have. It's his favorite food. And the guy says to him, why are you so sad? He says, because this is my last hot dog. This is the last of his hot dogs that I'm having. He says, why? I think he said, so he wasn't gonna start telling the guy about kosher. He says, financially, I'm starting to budget like a little bit better. Like I can't, he says, why you don't like it? He says, no, it's my favorite food, but this is the last one. So the guy says, I want you to know, I'm one of the owners of the chain and I give you all free, from now on, free hot dogs in the restaurant. And the guy's like, oh my gosh. Hashem.
And he gave him like a note for it, right?
Yeah,
and
he gave him a
the
note.
Guy ended up he framed the note to show his
Hashem, why would you do this?
He took it the other way, right? He said that this is his dedication. He can have all the hot dogs he wants, but he looks at that. Right, he looks at the note and he says that this shows his dedication. That even though he can get them all for free, his favorite thing for free, he doesn't do it. So you framed the note and all that. So what you were saying made me think of that. So I'm glad to remind you of it. I'm sure you have your notes and stuff. Yeah, great stories.
Great story, Brad. Thank you. All right, cool. So so that's the Beinoni and Life's in Control. I see Andrea raise her hand so nicely. Yes, go ahead. You're muted, Andrea.
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, thank God. So I just wanted to say also in times of duress, right? In times of like a life and death situation, or if somebody's chasing you or, screaming at you, I don't think, right? I think you're allowed to defy this, right? And
you say, yeah, for sure. I'm saying if someone's gonna die, if they don't have non-kosher food, then they shouldn't die. They should eat.
I'm not even that. I mean, if like I read a book, it was called Rise and Kill First. Like, and it's all about Israel. And if somebody's coming after you to kill you, then your anger and, that propels you to go after the person to do what you need to do to protect your life.
100%. Yeah, no, I'm saying like it could be you love your children and you want to protect them. That's a healthy thing.
Right.
That self-love, I think it's like it's self-preservation is a good thing. It's not a bad thing.
Right. So the animal soul takes over, right? At that point, no matter.
But the question is, you could always be in control.
Yes, I guess.
I think he's saying that a person, you know what? I'll tell you what's bothering me with this. I don't know if this is correct, but in other words, so like when he was saying that, okay, the guy could say, I got so angry that I did what I did. I would say, so leave the room. Let him, so go away from, like the alcoholic. I like the example of the alcoholic because they know that they shouldn't be, the way I know this is because like, see, people have come to my Seder before, like, and I won't offer them l'chaim or whatever it is because they know it's difficult for them. So some people won't come when they're really struggling. They won't come. They won't come to Shabbos meal where there's alcohol there because they know that they might fall. So I would agree. I like this idea that I got so angry, whatever, remove yourself from the situation. I'll be honest with you. Like there's some situations that I'm in, but like, let's say with my kids, they're sometimes children do things like, and I don't have an option. I can't leave because I'm like, listen, I wish I could leave, but I can't. I can't get out of it. But I guess we are in control, and we should put ourselves in a situation that we won't get caught up. Right? So if someone, there are times where it is very good to have self-preservation. We're not saying it's a bad thing, it's a good thing, but you're still in control of who's in charge. You're still in control of what happens. You know what I mean? So in other words, it's in tandem. If you're defending yourself, that's the godly soul saying to defend yourself. It's actually not even the animal soul, I would say.
Okay. Okay.
So it's when there is a debate. So if someone's attacking you and you have a carry, you're able to carry and you shoot the person first, you've done a mitzvah. You haven't done anything wrong. I wouldn't
Okay.
say, maybe that's not saying you're getting in touch. It's never good, I guess, to use your animal soul. It's never good to use your animal soul. But when when Israel's self-defense, if someone wanted to, and a soldier's going to protect its citizens, I wouldn't say that they're using the animal soul. I would say that they're using their godly soul.
Okay. Okay.
Right? So I guess really ultimately it's a very high level of discipline to never use your animal soul. The more in control we are, the healthier we'll be, the more human we'll be. The examples that you're giving, I would say that's the godly soul. That's not the animal soul protecting itself.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that's what I would say. I don't think trying to think that to let go and let the animal soul control. You're talking about mitzvahs. They're defending an IDF soldier who defends the people there is the greatest mitzvah you could do.
Right. Or even just a person defending themselves. Again,
Yeah,
like
why is that the animal soul? That's the godly soul.
I know. I mean, God forbid we shouldn't know from it, but I think a man in war is not really, I don't think they're really holding themselves back. I think they're letting themselves go.
It's funny because it's a unique law. It's a unique mitzvah actually about that. It's a very interesting mitzvah. You're bringing up one of a million case, which the Torah actually addresses in the case you're bringing. It's very interesting. I wonder about that. The Torah realizes that there are strong animalistic instincts in war because people are dealing with stuff.
Right.
And it actually gives you one free card in that situation because the person is very, his godly soul is sending him somewhere to protect his people.
Right.
But the kind of mindset that you're in is very close to your animal soul. So a person might not have as much control. So it allows you, if he sees a beautiful woman, the women would, the Torah, that's such a unique case. There's almost no other case like that in Torah, that the Torah actually allows, the women would dress up when they went to war to tempt the soldiers coming in to be intimate with them. And the guy's fighting a war, and the women are doing that. The Torah actually allowed him to take that woman home and maybe end up marrying her. Is that what you're referring to when you were so?
No. So I was really talking about like when a person's in war and they're fighting, and they, again, when you're fighting, and I guess that is the godly soul. You're protecting your soul, but at the 100%, same time,
you're doing the greatest mitzvah.
Right.
But there is something in the Torah that says that there is a strong animalistic urge in war. That there is, it's funny that you mentioned that because there happens to be, out of all the cases, there's one unique case. I wonder if it's connected. I want to think about it to see if the two are connected there. But I would say war is the greatest, when you're protecting another person, that's the greatest mitzvah you can do. I would say that's all godly soul.
Okay, that's interesting. I wouldn't think of it. So thank you.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Great point. Excellent. You really got me thinking. Thank you, Andrea. Anybody else want to share? Jump in, question or comment? No, that's it. Okay, clear. Discipline. It's not an easy thing, but that's human. Human being is, Hashem made him that his mind controls his heart. And that is the first step to the Beinoni. The first step to the human being. It doesn't matter what you feel, you are in control. And therefore, you need to live a human life and you need to be in control at all times of your thought, speech, your action, your speech, and even your thought. Ira, yes.
Is there a class tonight?
I think so.
Okay, just checking.
God willing. I have to still figure out what I'm going to talk about, but I'm going to try to have a class tonight. Yes, God willing.
And what's that at 8:30 or?
8:30, yeah, like 8:30 to 9, depending on the topic. We might finish 9:15. We're going to try to do that. Yeah, are you on the list? Do you get the reminders? You'll get a reminder.
No, I don't think I do. No.
Oh, so I'll try to add you so I remember.
Okay,
yeah, every Tuesday night. I try to do it every Tuesday night. I still have to figure out what I'm going to talk about, but.
And also add me, I guess, to the Thursday.
Okay, good. No problem. Thursday's not been happening. Probably won't be this week, but it's not every week. But yeah, okay. Let me add you first to tonight. Got it. Okay, cool. All right, awesome, Ira.
Yeah, I think Thursday is some New Year's thing going on now.
Yeah, I know some of the guys that are usually there on Thursday nights are not here this week, unless Yehuda wants to fly in for it. Very cool. Okay. What?
And so we could all fly there.
Yes, that's where we should do the party. Exactly. Mitchell Burko, you wanted to add something?
I was just going to mention, on a sort of different level is the proof of how strong the mind is and how it can overcome the heart is when you have anxiety about something. Let's say you're afraid of, you have a phobia of elevators, but you force yourself to get into that elevator. Your heart's pumping, literally. So it seems like, the godly soul and the mind really does have the ability through self-control to achieve these things that you're talking about. And on a minor level, you can see it on a daily basis. Maybe you're very shy, but you force yourself to go to a party and talk to people, those kinds of things. So the mind is much more powerful, it seems, even on that level, than the heart, which, is trying to draw back so you don't do certain things, no matter what the phobia or what the fear is.
Yeah, but I see, I'm wondering if can a person. What I'm wondering is, so it's a middle ground. So here, because I'm wondering myself. I want to work through it in time. So the whole thing is the mind controlling the heart. But in real life, okay, what I'm asked to control. So let's say I like certain food. For me, if I want to diet, it's a practical case I think we all deal with. When I'm sitting at the Shabbos table for 3-4 hours, and there is a donut sitting in front of me that's delicious. I told my kids on Hanukkah, it wasn't right. It was so mean. Every night I went to another event, and there's amazing donuts there, and I don't want it. I know it's bad for me, but if I'm sitting there for 3 hours in front of the donut, I'm going to eat it. So, but maybe that's the ultimate level of self-control. It's yes, I see it, and I'm going to learn. Maybe this is a skill that you pick up. The more you get in touch with this control, it's amazing. Wow, I could sit on the table for 4 hours, and there's the most unbelievable food, and I'm not going to touch it. So maybe that's the goal in life, is to reach that level. I think we say here's the deal. Just as I'm thinking it through with you guys, we daven every day. We say, Hashem, al tivienu l'dei nisoyin. Don't bring me to a challenge. Don't challenge me. We don't sit down. The alcoholic does not sit down in the alcohol store and says, bring it on. I'm in control. No, he stays away from the alcohol store. I'm not going to go to an event where I know. So let's say I'm stressed in this event, like elevators. Bring it on. I'll go up. I'm going to go to Empire State Building. I'm petrified of elevators, but my mind's in control. I'm going to go up and down in the elevators every day, 10 times a day. Just to, I don't think we do that, but whatever Hashem brings my way, I'm going to succeed. And that means God's challenging me, making me have the control, learn this discipline that I have. So as I said before, I feel a lot of times things get me stressed out when I'm in a situation that I don't like. But you should know, it happens to me in my life. If I'm driving to Atlanta with my kids in the car and I have to hear them fighting for 10 hours straight, I guess Hashem wants from me to reach the level of complete self-control that I shouldn't let start screaming at them or so. And it's I guess you shouldn't put yourself in that situation, but if you need to, you have to be able to control yourself always. I'm just thinking it through. So we don't ask to be challenged. We ask not to be challenged, but when we're forced to be challenged, that's where we grow and that's what we learn. And self-control is the number one step along the way to success in life and internally success in life, because that's what a human being is wired. So I love your elevator example. I'll take the stairs. If I can, I'd rather take the stairs. I'd rather not have to. But once in a while, maybe I will. I'll want to be challenged. But if I get to work and I'm shaking and I can't work the whole day, okay, then if I need to take that, then I'd rather just take the steps. But if I need to take the elevator, I will, and I'm ready to take the elevator. I love that example. So your mind is in control. The greater you can learn to be in control of your feelings, right? I'm mostly scared of turbulence. I'm scared of heights. I don't like going skiing. But maybe I'll go once or twice down the mountain, but to overcome it. But if I'll do it 100 times, I'm not going to become comfortable. So we're in life. We need to have control. We need to have control. We need to make sure we do. I don't know if there's an idea to put yourself in a situation that makes you uncomfortable. When Hashem gives you the situation, shine. Sit in front of that donut for 4 hours and don't eat it, and see if you could control yourself. If you have to be in that situation.
The donut's a tough one.
The elevator you're saying is easier.
Elevator.
It was funny because Hanukkah was like a whole joke in my house. I'm like, no, Don't, my kids knew it was a whole joke in our house with that. But that's like on a small level self-control. You know, it's not the worst sin in the world to eat the donut, but it's still your animal soul who wants you to eat it when it's unhealthy for you. It's bad for you. That you're acting like an animal if you're eating what's bad for you.
And when it comes to anxiety, your mind can dominate. You know that.
I want to share you. I want to tell you something about anxiety because, like, my mind always thinks too. So, you're here. I think here maybe this is my thoughts. Here's the challenge for the anxious person is that so your mind is always sending you thoughts of anxiety, right? You know, like, why isn't the baby waking? Why didn't I hear the baby cry at night? Or like, you know, like, why, a million things. Like, some people's brains work like that. That's how I look at the animal soul. Boom, boom. It's trying to, you didn't get rid of it. It's still sending you this message. Once in a while, you have relief from it. From the animal soul sending you these messages. But I feel like you might need to be like, out. I don't want to, I'm not thinking about it. I'm controlling my mind. That my mind shouldn't get, or you just let your mind go and then think about it. You know what I mean? So a big part is being like a baseball player. You know, in the baseball things, they throw the ball at you, and you knock it out of the park. Each time they throw it at you, and you push it away, and your mind's in control of the anxiety that it's sending you. So that's part of life. To master that skill of discipline is huge. It's one of the greatest. Things. Yeah.
I posted something about anxiety just because you guys spoke about it. It's actually Rabbi Manis Friedman talking about anxiety. So if you're like interested, it's not long. It's like 15 minutes kind of thing. Anybody who wants to watch it, it's actually a great piece that or a lecture that he's given about anxiety. But going back to the control thing, in Hebrew we say melech, lemech, and klum. Because the abbreviation for melech is moach, which is the mind, lev, the heart, and klayot is the kidneys. We're saying that actions can be done in three ways. Either you can think about it and do it, you can work emotionally, and you can work like an animal. And if you work with the mind first, then the abbreviation will create the word melech, which is king. If you work with your heart first, and then your mind and your kidneys, then it would make lemech. Lemech is like a clown. It's a joker, prankster. And then the last one, which is kidneys, heart, and like the animalistic feeling, and then the heart, and then the soul, then you become klum. You become nothing. Klum means nothing.
Very good. Beautiful. I love it. So melech, you want to be king over yourself. The biggest one to master is yourself, right? Everyone's into mastering other people.
Yeah.
But the key is to be king over yourself.
Yeah.
To control your mind. And that controls your heart and that controls your kidneys. Awesome. Beautiful. Very, very nice. Love that. All right. Awesome, Eyal. Thanks so much for sharing. That's great. All right. I think we're wrap it up for today. We'll continue tomorrow with Hashem's help to learn about the Beinoni, exactly who he is. Have an amazing day, or tonight, 8:30. Join me 8:30 tonight. God will Hashem's help. I'll have something good to share. If not, we'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. All the best, everyone.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. You all.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.